We're wine tasting in SummerWood Paso Robles. Sip, sip, hooray!
Yay!
Hi, and thanks for listening. This is Sip Sip Hooray, and I'm Mary Babbitt.
I'm Mary Orlin. We always have fun with wine, and we're so glad you joined us because we've got a great show for you today.
We do. You know, one of my favorite things about this show, Mary, is the cool people we get to meet along the way. And particularly winemakers often have a really interesting backstory. And I just love how did you get to where you are today? You know, what led to all of this? And we have a real gem to share with you today.
That's right. We met Mauricio Marchant. He is the winemaker at SummerWood Winery and Inn in Paso Robles. And I don't want to reveal too much, but let's just say we found out why his wines are so good. He likes to make them happy in a musical way.
And might I add, if you're looking for a fun little getaway, SummerWood is great because the inn is located right next to the winery and it's super charming. It's a lovely space. But come along as we visit with Mauricio and learn all about his wine, his music, and his loves.
At SummerWood, and there's a huge 4-panel picture window looking into the tasting room so folks tasting wine can see
everything that's happening.
Do you ever feel like they're watching you?
Yeah, totally. All the time.
It's like a fishbowl.
Yes, it is. And I always tell people, you know, there's no secrets.
Yeah.
And I tell them everything I know so they can compare with other places. Yeah. And that way they get better education, they get to know where wine comes from. This is our flagship rum blend. It's called Diosa. And it's a blend of Syrah, Mourvedre, and Grenache in that order.
Mary Babbitt and I are here at SummerWood Winery, and we are with winemaker Mauricio Marchant, and we have had the privilege of him opening a beautiful red wine called Diosa. Mauricio, welcome to Sip Sip Hooray.
You're welcome.
Cheers, Mauricio.
You're welcome. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks for coming here.
Y'all haven't been to SummerWood. Next time you're in Paso Robles, make it a point to come here. There's some beautiful gardens, and you can sit out on the patio and overlook vineyards. It's just idyllic.
And we got to walk around, and the tasting room looks right into the cellar room, and you can see them working on the wines. It's just a beautiful spot.
Just like a fishbowl.
Just like a fishbowl. And if you're lucky, Mauricio might put on a show for you.
So tell us what we're drinking.
So we're just drinking our flagship rum blend, which is called Diosa, and it's mainly Syrah, usually more than 70% Syrah, and then between 10 and 20% Mourvedre, and the rest Grenache.
It's a beautiful wine.
Thanks.
It's layered and complex and fruity. I love it. It's really nice.
What does Diosa mean?
Diosa means goddess in Spanish.
I like that. Mm-hmm.
All right, so tell us, we want to get to know you, Mauricio. So tell us your journey. You're originally from Chile.
Yes, I am originally from Chile. I studied agronomy in Chile. And in my first winery job, I met this guy that was one of the winemakers at Concha, Toro.
Oh, sure.
And he was in charge of a student exchange program between the United States and Chile. And so he saw me working and asked me if I wanted to come here. And I asked my grandma if I could borrow the money from her. And I said yes.
How old were you?
I was 25. Yes. And a long time ago.
Can't be that long.
Just a couple of years. Come on.
And so I was a little late applying for the jobs, and so I got to go to Oregon. So my first vintage, my first harvest in the United States was in the Willamette Valley in Oregon, at Willamette Valley Vineyards.
Oh, sure. Yeah. And was it different for you coming from Chile and not having worked in the American wine industry?
Oh, yeah. I had no English whatsoever. No long ago, I re-met with my cellar master That was Willamette Valley Vineyards at the time. And he told me that if he didn't knew my face, he was never going to recognize my voice because I never talked to anybody over there, because literally my English came up after I met my girlfriend at the time. That's when you have to actually.
It usually takes a woman to do something.
Exactly. So that was my first vintage, and then I went back to Chile, and then I came back to Napa Valley, and I worked a harvest there in Napa.
Was there a big difference between the way wines are made in Chile compared to the U.S.? Was that also a culture shock for you? Not only the language, but was the process different? And had you known about Chilean wine before? Did you come up as a novice?
Well, so the degree, the college degree, allow you to know a lot about vineyards and wine growing and winemaking, like not the process per se, but the science.
Would that be like, you said agronomy, would that be like viticulture?
It's agriculture engineering. Yeah, okay. and you get to specialize over there in Chile. Either you do fruit production or enology and viticulture, or animal production, or row crops.
Okay, so
so the last 2 years, it's like an engineering degree where you specialize in mechanical engineer or electrical engineer after the first 3 years, which every single engineer goes through. Mm-hmm. So I did the same thing, and I picked fruit production, not enology and viticulture. I actually didn't want to work in the wine industry because I thought that the grapes were so anemic and dirty.
Oh, really?
And so I worked for fruit exporting companies for about 3 or 4 years, exporting, table grapes or any fruit to the United States and Europe.
So what turned the tide for you?
Wine. I was a bad boy.
Sorry.
No worries. You say party animals. I was kind of like a party animal.
So and you got to taste your wine.
Exactly. And so I grew up with wine. My grandfather always gave me a little bit of wine with lunch and dinner every weekend. My dad drank a lot of beer, so I got a taste of beer since I was little. They never, in Chile, it's like in Italy, they never say no to the kids. You grow up with alcohol around you. Yep. Mm-hmm. So that's what happened.
And then
exactly. So what happened to me is like I was waiting for my job to start at Dole, which is a packing fruit packing company in Chile. And this friend of mine called me and told me that they need somebody at Concha Toro for harvest. And I'm like, you know what? I can work for 2 weeks, make some money, and then quit, and then go to the job that I want. And that's when it hit me. There's nothing romantic about this. I gotta tell you. I discovered that you can work and drink and have fun at the same time. and I know.
I don't want anybody to know.
I know. And it's that simple.
That's such a guy in his 20s sort of decision, isn't it?
Exactly. Not at all. My grandfather was proud because I was bringing him wine that I helped make. It was perfect for me.
And coming to the U.S., did you fall in love with the United States, or was
it was a woman? I fall in love with a woman from the United States, and then I fall in love with how beautiful the country is and the people and the wine regions. Sure. Napa is a beautiful place. Paso Robles is a beautiful place.
Yeah. How did you end up in Paso?
We were in Napa, working at different wineries for 4 years, and then my wife actually got a phone call for a startup, and so they wanted her to make the wine and build the winery and build the brand. And so that was for her being an assistant winemaker in Napa to become a winemaker and do all that. It's like a dream come true. So it was impossible to say no.
Of course.
So 14 years ago we moved to Paso from Napa, and the rest is history. Yeah.
It's a great place.
It is.
I think maybe more approachable sometimes than the Napa wine scene. I think it's
still Yes. Honestly, we moved here because of the challenge. Mm-hmm. But we also moved here because that same year, there was an article from Robert Parker Jr. that said that Paso Robles was going to be the next Napa Valley. So we were like, let's start something fun and something good. Mm-hmm. Let's go. Let's take the challenge. Yeah. So we moved here, and I keep telling people, it's going to be like Napa. Mm-hmm. Maybe not now, maybe not in 20 years, but it's progress. And progress, you can't stop progress.
Mm-hmm. So when you say it's going to be like Napa, is that in terms of the quality of wine?
The quality of wine is already here.
Yes.
When we came here the first time, we noticed that the quality of the wine needed to be improved. And that was our part. That's the part that we play. Not just me and my wife. She went to UC Davis. She has a master's degree in enology and viticulture. But we also draw some friends that used to be in Napa. Like the winemaker, the new winemaker at Justin Winery now came from Napa Valley. And we used to hang out with him when we were over there. So literally they called us and they say, how's Paso? And we were like, come over here.
Get on down here.
Yeah. And they did. Yeah. So that's the kind of things that has been happening. Also, important to say is that Cal Poly has stepped it up big time.
Well, yes, their viticulture program.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's very important. It's very, very important.
Right. And for listeners who don't know where Cal Poly is, it's in
San Luis Obispo, just south of here.
25 miles south.
And so that's for kids going into winemaking or any part of the wine industry. They have a tremendous program.
Yeah.
For people who don't know the Paso wine scene, what are some of the varietals that Paso does really well?
This region is kind of young. We've been here for a while, but bigger wineries planted Cabernet Sauvignon and Chardonnay a long time ago. So Cabernet Sauvignon and Chardonnay are still the two main varieties planted in Paso Robles. That said, about, 20, 30 years ago, when Tablas Creek decided to open their doors and brought all that plant material from France to the United States and planted, they were the first one that planted Viognier and Syrah and all that.
So Tablas Creek got cuttings from the Rhone Valley.
Exactly.
And they brought them. So we're talking about Rhone varietals, Syrah, Grenache, Viognier, Marsanne, Roussanne, Grenache Blanc. What is it about winemaking in Paso that you like?
I love the fact that it's so different. Just to give you a very interesting fact, Tablas Creek, which is one of the wineries closer to the ocean, is 7 miles from SummerWood, west of SummerWood.
Okay.
And they get double the amount of rain that we get here at SummerWood. And then SummerWood gets double, and this is every year, SummerWood gets double the amount of rain than downtown Paso gets. And downtown Paso gets double the amount of rain that they get in Creston.
Wow.
And this is, I'm talking about 20 miles maybe.
Exactly. I mean, it's crazy how there's different. So many different microclimates.
Exactly.
Within a short radius.
That's why when they scientifically divided the Paso Robles AVA into 11 different sub-appellations, I was surprised because it's 11. I thought it would be 3 or 4. Remember, years ago, we were just saying West Side Paso, East Side Paso.
Yeah. And now we have 11 different.
I remember when we were filming the TV show down in Paso, there was just the East Side and the West Side.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And it was a big Paso Robles.
It's the biggest in the country.
Huge.
Yeah.
Mm. So
yeah, it has come a long way, baby.
Yeah.
So which AV are you guys in?
We are in the Templeton Gap right here.
Templeton Gap, and that's known for what?
It's almost the same, except for the soils are a little different, and the rain amount. It's more hilly on the other appellations and the Templeton Gap. Because it's a gap, it's kind of like the flatter area of the entire west side of Paso, if you want to call it that way.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. So tell us what you love about SummerWood. So what are some of the things that, some of the favorite wines you guys are making?
So at SummerWood, we make a little bit of everything. And it's a brand that has been here for 19 years now. And we just planted a 21-acre vineyard that is all white run varieties. So we got Grenache Blanc, Viognier Marchant, and Roussanne in that vineyard.
That's exciting.
And so I would like to say that we should be known as one of the wineries where you can find some really good white wines in the near future.
Yeah.
Which is, there's not a lot of that around here.
I was going to say, it's mostly red wine.
And mostly red wine, Biggs and Zinfandel, and now Syrah, Grenache, and Mourvedre are taking over.
But I like that because I love white wine.
Exactly.
And I think, most people don't realize there's such a range of white wine beyond Chardonnay.
Yeah.
And Pinot Grigio and Sauvignon Blanc.
Yeah. So those are the wines that I'm excited about, the whites. And also, the Syrah blends are my favorite. That said, Cabernet is a little different than the Napa Cabernets, but it's as big and as voluptuous and as complex as any Napa Valley Cabernet that you can find out there. But the white ones, for me, for SummerWood, are exciting.
That speaks to you.
Yeah.
So people can come here and have a real wine country experience. They can, sit outside, look at the vineyards. They can also stay overnight.
Yes. A beautiful inn across the street from the winery.
Yeah. It came with the property, They renovated it about 6 years ago. They completely redid it.
Beautiful.
And it's completely open floor plan. The kitchen is right there. You sit literally almost right next to the chef. Every morning they make you breakfast from scratch. I've seen people, getting up and asking, what the Hollandaise recipe is to the chef, and he explained to them how to make it and all that. The idea is to make you feel like you are home, but also they will treat you like a king.
Well, it's lovely.
That's the idea. Yeah, it is actually, to me, one of the best spots in Paso.
Great. And I think that's what people want when they come to wine country, when they're looking for a weekend experience or a getaway.
Yeah.
They want to feel special.
And also it's far away from downtown. Not far enough to be like, I want to be close to downtown. It's only one exit on the 101 far. And so, but it's out there. There's a vineyard right next to it. There's wineries everywhere around it. Again, the breakfast is, to me, the best feature of the place. Maybe because I love food. And there's a wine included in the room, a bottle of wine. And I go there almost every day in the morning and talk to everybody that I can talk to. I usually tell them, if they need help with recommendations, I give them recommendations.
You could actually meet the winemaker.
Yeah. That's the idea. Education is very important. To me, it's crucial. Not only in the tasting room, but if I can take you or any guest to the vineyard and tell you what we're doing at that point in the vineyard, to me is value added, but also it's good for the wine industry in general, because that person will go somewhere else and we already know a little bit more about it, and it will demand better quality wines. And going back in time, that's why we're here with my wife, because we wanted a challenge and we wanted to improve something that was already great. And that's what we're here for. We're trying to improve it, to make it better for everybody, and learn at the same time.
So, Mauricio, if you'll play along, one of the things we like to do on Sip Sip Hooray is ask a series of quick questions, and you can just answer whatever's off the top of your head. So, for instance, what do you do when you're not making wine? When you're not working, what's your favorite thing to do?
Oh, easy. I have a 13-year-old boy, and he's really good at soccer. And maybe it's because I'm his dad, but he is good at soccer. He, how when you're like a little baby, a little young kid, and your parents ask you, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I said, I want to be an astronaut. My kid actually said, I want to be a soccer player.
Aww. So
that's a weird one, because it's you think it's very approachable and really easy to do, but it's not. So that's what I do. Me and my wife are encouraging the kid and bringing him to practices. And he plays soccer year round for a club team, and he wants to go to UCLA, whatever, because that's where, the soccer teams from the MLS are drawing most of their players all the time. And so that's what we're working into.
Dad.
Yeah, I'm a soccer dad.
I've heard of hockey moms. You're a soccer dad.
I'm a soccer dad, yeah.
So what does soccer dad like to listen to music-wise?
Music? Oh, I like all kinds of music, but the 70s are
I'm with you.
Yeah, like I told you before, I was a bad boy. And in South America, classic rock is related to having fun. Led Zeppelin, Deep Purple, Pink Floyd, that kind of music I love. The Doors, my son,
he not appreciate it.
He likes rap. And I play, we're bilingual, so I play him with this capability that the phones have now, with these apps that can play whatever music you want. So I play him music in Spanish, and he's like, "What is that? Come on, Dad," And he plays this rap, and I'm like, "Oh my God!" Yeah. But that's music. I encourage him to listen to it, because music does make your life better. And wine-wise, I hate to say this, but I do talk to my barrels. I sing to the wine.
Oh, I love it. We should have.
I play music loud in the cellar. Mm-hmm. I have a stereo system in the cellar that is literally in the barrel room and in the fermentation room, and the volume is always high.
Because the wine's
because because I like it that way.
So you and the wines are both happy.
Yeah, well, some wineries, they play classical music. Yeah. I don't. I just play, everything, from all the way from Led Zeppelin to Sublime, and all that, all music that makes you feel happy and that actually give you some energy, because that's important during harvest.
You up.
You're all tired and working long hours, and so you need some stuff, Red Hot Chili Peppers, like,
oh yes,
let's keep working, that kind of music I like.
I love it. Yeah. Well, I think that's the perfect note to end our interview with.
Oh, cool.
Mauricio, thank you so much for joining us. We have loved interviewing you.
Thank you, guys.
Sip, sip, hooray.
Sip, sip, hooray.
Sip, sip, hooray.
Cheers.
Cheers.
And that's going to do it for our show today. Thanks for coming along for the ride.
Absolutely. If you really like what we're doing, please share it with your friends and family. And to be sure that you don't miss another one of our super fun episodes, go to our website, sipsiphooraypodcast.com, and subscribe to the podcast. That way, you'll automatically know when we drop an episode.
Absolutely. Get on board. Follow us on the Gram and Facebook, and be sure to tag us at Sip Sip Hooray Podcast. And that way we can stay in touch with you. Thanks for coming along, and we'll see you again next time. Sip, sip, hooray.